in to the Gaming Discourse. I am Tyler Frater alongside Richard De La Cruz.
No.
Chief Engineer, Lieutenant Commander Connor Frater.
He's back.
Hello.
It is November 23rd, 2021. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Gaming Discourse. Go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Gaming Discourse, where we post videos. Just posted, well, kind of just about a month or week. I don't remember. Time has no meaning. Posted a video about Midnight Protocol. I did not like the game very much, and I explained why in the video, so go check that out.
You've made it very apparent.
We're recording this on a Tuesday. We did a little bit of a schedule reshuffle.
Sorry.
It's no one's fault.
Literally mine.
Disregard Richard at the moment. But we've got a lot to get into. We will talk about, in a sense, I'm glad we had to postpone today because this Activision Blizzard Bobby Kotick situation
Won't stop.
is just
Won't stop.
simmering, and it's ridiculous. Phil Spencer said some stuff that we're excited to talk about with game preservation, and an old chestnut, something we haven't talked about in a long time on the show. Star Citizen.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Star Citizen makes a return
Christmas curse.
to the podcast. But first, we'll talk about what games we've been playing. So, Connor, why don't you kick us off? Richard.
I've been working for the past 18 days,
Okay.
so nothing.
Well,
Making that
by the
money.
look you gave me, I thought that was the communique there. Richard.
Oh man, I love Halo Infinite so
You do?
much. I love
Okay,
Halo
good.
Infinite.
I haven't played it past the few hours I played it to begin with, although I want to. So
I went to I think I told the story about how I went from controller to mouse and keyboard to controller again.
Okay.
And I don't know, I feel personally as if I've never left playing Halo. I'm not like the best player ever. I'd be somewhere else if I was, but I think that the game captures this excellent field between being modern enough that it hasn't crossed that threshold to being like Call of Duty or any of the other games. Like it's just enough that it has all the modern aspects of a first-person shooter, but it's Halo enough that it is Halo. At least to me, I think that a lot of the powers, although there's some learning pains and like picking them up and figuring out how to use them and what you can use them for, I think all the powers are really cool, and there is nothing that I guess would be overpowering in a sense.
okay.
Your overclocking is still, or your overshield is still there. Your invisibility is still there. What was it? It was a bubble, right? Your bubble that you used to have.
Like a bubble shield?
Yeah, the bubble shield.
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily a bubble shield anymore. It's more like a force shield, but you kind of have to use that at the right time. You only get like one shot to do it.
Okay, so it's like a giant shield that appears in front of you.
Yeah,
Which
kind
has
of.
appeared in one iteration or another in a couple different Halos.
It's like a pressure push. So like if a warthog is like right in front of you and you do that and it just like and it just like pushes everything back. And you can do that to rockets too. Like if a rocket is about to hit, you can hit that. You know, shoot the rocket back at them.
Oh,
which is great.
interesting. Okay.
Or like if a guy, you know, is like getting right in front of you, you can do it and pushes them back.
Push them back.
So it's really cool. There's like a sensor.
Super useful in zombies.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll add that mode eventually. I'm not sure if they have it now, but there's like a survey beacon, which is really neat. I'm glad to use that, but I'm very impressed so far with most of the weapons. I think every single weapon out there is viable in whatever situation you are in, especially the pistol and the assault rifle. Like the pistol is I don't remember it being this good besides the first Halo, which is great. And it has a really nice standard clip. It's like 12 rounds, but I mean, that's just enough. Like I can take out somebody, you know, without worrying about dying. But the maps are great. And I love kind of the twists on things that they have. Control is in any first person shooter multiplayer is like one of my favorite modes to play. So of course, capturing the points is great, but whenever you have to capture 3 points, and when you do that, you gain 1 point, and it's to 3. But when you capture those points, they shift around the map, so they never stay in the same spot. So I love that because it doesn't continually stay to like a kind of a landlock. Because if you have one team that's better than another, like they have a
Like a stranglehold.
As a strategy. Yeah, a strategy or a stranglehold, like, and they stick to it. So it prevents that. and it prevents more of a tug of war type feel. Team Slayer is still Team Slayer. I pretty much do big team battle all the time, but I've had to, in order to get some challenges done, do like ranked arenas or PvPs, and I've never been a fan of Oddball personally, but I played Oddball the other night and it was all right. But
I think Oddball's one of the lesser played game
yeah,
modes.
definitely. I can see why people love it for sure, but I'm not too big into
For
it.
Griffball.
Yeah, but I'm I think I'm about 10 hours like sunken into it already, and it's very, very fun. At least it's sinking its teeth into me again. At least compared to Halo 5, like, because I remember starting up and playing Halo 5, and I kind of really, even though it was Halo, it just, something about it felt weird, and I couldn't really grasp it as fast as I have this one, because this one, in my opinion, feels more like, the original. 2 and 3, more like 1. I mean, 1 is very basic, so.
Yeah, 1's old.
Yeah,
and so it's kind of weird to,
Aged.
343's Halos have, I think, lacked an identity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Halo 4. So I've been playing Halo 3, so I was going to talk about Halo in general. Are there
Since we're talking, yes.
Are there any other games you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it for a little bit.
Keep going then.
All right. Well, I've been playing Deathloop, and
nice.
And Deathloop has a very long history with us because they keep showing trailers. They kept showing trailers, and we started to make fun of it because it was like, just release the game already. And I myself was not very like hyped on it. I was going to play it eventually, but it wasn't something that like I wanted to buy day one or something I got excited about. I was tired of it by the time it came out. And GameStop had a crazy good deal. It was a glitch before the Black Friday deal is going on now, but it was only $22. So
wow. Yeah,
so I picked it up and I started playing it. And I don't know what I was expecting. I should have known what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. It's Arcane, so it's Dishonored and Prey with a roguelike feel to it.
Okay.
You play as Colt, I forgot his last name, but you immediately wake up on the beach drunk. You're supposedly drunk, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And I wasn't expecting, I know there's powers, but I wasn't expecting it to be pseudo supernatural, because as you're walking to your first area, you start to see like words in midair. And Colt himself is like, what the, like, you're already commenting on it, but you don't comment on it again throughout the rest of the game. It's just there. I'm having trouble figuring out where to go from here as far as like how to talk about this game.
Is this surprising good?
Yes,
surprising bad?
Surprising so
good?
I have flip-flopped on it. It is surprising good, and I really enjoyed playing it. And then about 2 days ago, I came up with this conclusion that Deathloop is an extremely stylish, extremely slick game that I don't have time for. And then last night I was playing again and it clicked. And so now I'm like, okay, I have time. All right. So the island you're on resets every day, no matter what. Like when you go to sleep or if someone dies.
Even if you're alive?
Even if you're alive. It resets every single day.
So I know I'm jumping ahead here, but I'm curious as to how that works if I put my PS5 in stasis mode or whatever.
So you're safe. You're safe.
Okay.
So you find out that this island was where they took the greatest minds, like 8 of the greatest minds, and placed them on this island for preservation because the day keeps looping.
Oh, like, so you get an infinite knowledge or whatever.
Right. So you can just continue to, and I'm not sure exactly, but there are certain logs that make it seem like it's been like 13,000 years or something like that, or a very long time that you've been there. Something has happened, and Colt is trying to break this loop. Juliana, the main antagonist, is trying to stop you from breaking the loop.
Yeah.
Don't know why yet, of course. There are 4 phases to the day. There's morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. And each of those days, you have the option of visiting 4 locations. At any of those times, completely different things are happening in those 4 locations. And you have to consistently replay each of them in order to find out something different, connecting certain parts of each part together. So, hey, Frank, one of the visionaries, is having a huge party at this bay here. and he has fireworks. He gets his fireworks from this guy named Otto over here at this place at this time. If you go to that location where the fireworks are at any other time, that place is blown up.
Oh, okay.
So you have to get there before noon to get the information you need before it blows up, because once you're past that point in time, you can't go back there until the next loop.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So now I have to wait until the next loop or do whatever I need to do in order to get that information. And then from there, I can make my moves to like sabotage the fireworks show or just go find Frank and kill him myself. Because Colt finds out that in order to break the loop, you have to kill all 8 visionaries in a day. But you can only kill one at a time.
So you have to figure out how to...
Until you figure out...
How to get them all to the same location.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, 2 of these people, they're actually like in love with each other and they meet at some point at this time. So I got to go there. And,
okay.
And so it's a lot of information and it's a lot of stuff you have to figure out, because there's, of course, puzzles that you have to, kind of make your way around, but they are very obtuse puzzles until you find the right thread to tug on, and then it kind of falls in place. The other not so infuriating thing, but smart thing that Arcane does is none of the codes work for every playthrough. So I can't just go find the code online. And there are some story aspects that they actually like, she knows that we're in a loop. So she changes the code every day because she knows you're coming after her.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Like
Neat.
stuff like
Okay.
that. The weapons are really... Oh, okay. So the day resets, and at first you lose everything every single day until you find the thing necessary to basically... When because the loop, it keeps happening, it infects particular things on it, like a can. You'll see it kind of glitching out. You can take
so there's something that like isn't affected by the time loop or something like that?
No, it is affected.
Oh.
There's too much of it there or something. So you can basically, they call it residuum. So you can absorb it and then infuse it into like, oh, I found this cool weapon. I'm going to infuse it so I can bring it with me next loop.
Okay.
And then you also get abilities or like a trinkets to attach to your weapon. Like, oh, this will give me better accuracy. Let me infuse it so I can bring it with me next time or something of the sort. You have those. And then you also have slabs, which are personal abilities that everyone has. Colt has the reprise ability, so when he dies, he rewinds to a safe spot, and then you can go back and get your body or whatever.
So when you die, the loop doesn't restart?
You have to die 3 times in order for it to restart.
Okay,
you can only do
one death doesn't restart the loop.
Right. You could only die 3 times, or twice, and then the third time, the loop's over. You got to restart the loop.
Okay.
That sucks though, because it sucks. Because if you're in the afternoon or evening, you restart the entire loop.
Yeah.
So whatever you've done that day is a wash. And so that's why I came to that conclusion. Is like, I don't have time for this, because it's certain points became very frustrating because I was in a really intense situation to where I was fighting not fighting a visionary. I was very close to her, and it turns out they're literally sitting. Their room is above an atomic generator. That when they know you're there, they hit the button and a timer starts that it's going to blow up, and you have to either defuse it or kill her and then figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I was in there, everyone was finding me. I was trying to survive, and then on my screen it was like Juliana is on the hunt, because eventually she randomly comes after you, Juliana, the antagonist, and that's when you have to like fight and defend against her. She has there are way fewer times that she has come after me than she has come after me. So like it's not a frequent thing. Okay. I've played a majority of the game, and she's only come after me twice, maybe 3 times.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so it is great because I don't know when. There's no trigger. Like I don't know when she's going to come after me. And even then, she's formidable. She has, if you kill her, she may have someone else's slab, and I don't know why. So that's something that's on my head, like is figuring out like the. But anyways, and it's like it's very cool, and all the 10 out of 10s that it's been getting in the Game of the Year talk. Like I can see it for sure. Colt is a really cool character because he's It's retro futuristic, so it's like it's all 70s, but
with sci-fi.
Yeah, sci-fi stuff. Yeah,
okay.
And he's very. I wanted to use the phrase "fish out of water," because for some people you forget why you're looping.
Mm-hmm.
But other people, like Juliana knows, she remembers everything, but Colt doesn't. So at the start of the game, you're like, what the hell is this happening? Who the hell am I? Like, what the hell is going on? And Colt is very defensive and angry about it. And then eventually Colt kind of becomes a dork. Like he's like, he'll start to play with you because Juliana she's in contact with you all the time. You'll start to play with each other. She hates your guts for some reason. I don't know yet, but he kind of like pisses her off, and he'll start to sing to himself when you're doing things.
Oh, okay.
It's very charismatic, and his voice actor is really, really good.
Awesome.
But it is a game that I am very excited to continue playing at. And like I said the other night, I got in a groove to where I hit all of these accomplishments I wanted to get done, and now I'm really like, I got to get back to it. I want to get back to it. So,
that's good.
So I can't wait to play it, and I can't wait for you to play it, because it's like Prey. It's like, Dishonored. If you love that stuff, it's even more of that, but more refined. I guess I'll say. But it's really good, and I'm enjoying it now a lot. Not like it didn't before, but
Well, I went and picked up a copy at a Best Buy, and I got to the register and it was full price. But it's probably my fault. The tag in the bay or whatever had the sale, the Black Friday sale, but it rang up full price. So I was like, yeah, never mind.
Oh, well.
And I was really disappointed. And the sale is online and stuff, so I guess I could have price matched it, but
Amazon has it at $24.99 right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on at the time, so I was just like, whatever, I just gotta get out of here. Never mind, I'm not buying this for full price if it's on sale everywhere else. But anyway, so yeah, that makes me want to play it even more. I've been playing, so I want to play through the Halos, at least Halo 3 and through Halo 5 and then Halo Wars 2 before Halo Infinite's single player. So I played through...
Real quick, sorry. Does Halo Wars 2 ties into Infinite?
I have no idea. I've heard that. That annoys me somewhat because it's like, God damn it. There's like this other game, this spinoff I have to play to know what's going on in the Master Chief story. Anyway, so minor gripe, I guess. In any case, I played through Halo 3. Halo 3 was, I hadn't played through it in a really long time. Halo 3 is really short, and because Cortana isn't with the Chief for such a long time, I think it lacks a lot of the personality that the Halos where Chief and Cortana are together have. So I think that that sort of hinders it a bit as far as its storytelling goes. Halo 3, from a game perspective, is fantastic. That's when they really pushed the formula to crazy heights. And you had battles with scarabs, and you had all kinds of vehicle sections and stuff like that. That's when you had marine bodies or elite bodies would turn into Flood like right before your eyes, which is really neat to see and stuff like that. And of course you had fights against the Flood that were forms that weren't clearly alien or Covenant or human. They were like Flood forms or something else.
Yeah, dudes
that would like fire spikes at you and whatnot. So yeah, I played through Halo 3, and I still thought it was good. Brief, short, probably could have had a little more story, probably could have done a little bit more with the ending, but still good. And from a multiplayer standpoint, I still think Halo 3 is probably the peak of Halo multiplayer. And maybe with the exception of Infinite, I haven't played a whole lot of it though. But the thing I wanted to talk about was that I think Halo, since 343 took over, has really struggled to find an identity. And I picked up playing Halo 4, and I'm playing through and Halo 4 was interesting because the Chief finds Cortana at the end of Halo, at midpoint, whatever, of Halo 3. And the Chief becomes a much more talkative character. Someone's alarm went off. The Chief becomes a much more talkative character in Halo 4, right?
Yes, he does.
And so he's a little more humanized, and there's certain reasons for that and whatnot. But as far as gameplay goes, Halo 4, it's really fun thus far, and I always remembered liking the gameplay of it. But yeah, one example of Halo since 343 took over, like struggling to find an identity. And a lot has been said about the art style, but I find it really obnoxious in Halo 4 because stuff is just everywhere. There are all kinds of corners and angles and lights. It's a very loud art direction, and I don't necessarily think that makes it better, right? Like,
yes, yeah.
You know, I don't know. When I think about what the Master Chief looked like in Halo 3, there is something about characters being, well, art, and I'm not an expert in this, but art being simple that makes it memorable and easy to look at, right? Mm-hmm. When people talk about, like, Star Wars, for example, when people talk about why Star Wars is timeless, you think about a lot of the ships and, like, what a TIE fighter is a dot and 2 panels. Mm-hmm. An X-Wing is just 2 lines and another line. It's an X with a line going through it, right? The Death Star is just a circle. So it's like all these shapes that make up its iconic starfighters and stuff are really simple shapes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one reason why an X-Wing that looked cool in 1977 still looks cool today, because it's not made of shapes or things that were aesthetically popular at the time.
Right.
And you look at something like Star Trek, you look at Star Trek in the 60s, and it's all, you know, the phaser rifle from the 60s looks like something out of Flash Gordon, you know? And that's just because the era it was from. So it doesn't have that same aesthetic about it. And with Halo, and I think with the Chief going back to so more like the simplistic art style, I think, I don't want to say they came to understand that. I think they just came to decide to go that direction rather than the direction they were going, 343, the direction they were going with Halo 4 and Halo 5. But yeah, that's the thing that really stands out, is how loud everything is in Halo 4. Like, just there are pieces on top of pieces on top of pieces on everything.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't have the same sort of subtlety to it or mystery to it. Like when you're running around Forerunner infrastructure in the first 2 Halos. Again, the first 2 Halos were early 2000s. But it wasn't like there was sort of something mythic about it. Like you're walking around ruins, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like you go to ancient ruins, and the ancient ruins aren't super complex. But in Halo 4, all that's thrown out the window. And it's a lot of like crazy architecture and lights and super... It's like you're running around Tron.
Yeah, yes, like you really are. When you reload guns, your guns are doing like 8 different things at once.
Yeah, and partially that's because the Forerunner weapons float, and I think if certain things were kept simplistic, like the aesthetic of the Forerunner weapons would work, and how they sort of are gravitationally attracted the parts, you know. So I think if Halo 3's art direction was picked up and taken in Halo 4, and you had this addition of Forerunner weapons being really crazy, that may have worked. It may have clashed. I don't know. But anyway, so I don't know. I haven't looked at a Warthog or anything like that in Halo Infinite, but I'm hoping they go back to that art style with a lot of the stuff. And by hoping, I guess we have the answer. I just haven't seen it for myself. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't think I've played. It is weird playing Halo 4 because, man, there's so much set up that Halo 5 just completely sidestepped.
Yeah.
It is.
They ignored it.
It's so weird.
Well, not only that, I remember Halo 4 starting out, and I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? Or no, it was at the end of 4, sorry. At the end of 4, and then playing 5, because if you didn't play Spartan Ops in between...
There's a bunch of stuff you don't know.
Yeah, no, because it was, they continued the story that way, but nobody knew that. Like. Well,
and Spartan Ops they were really repetitive, and I think there's like 100 episodes or something.
I can't remember how many episodes.
Maybe not that many.
But yeah, that's I guess the final cutscene is where Dr. Halsey like loses her arm and like all this stuff happens, and like, you know, if you didn't play that and then started 5, it's like, wait a minute, I just saved you. Why are you with the elites again? What the hell's going on? You know. So.
Yeah, and that's another issue with the later Halos, is that they decided that they were going to take all the expanded universe stuff and incorporate it somehow. and I really dislike that. I dislike that so much. One of the things I dislike so much about Halo 5 was the other Spartans that apparently the chief is known for such a long time and stuff like that.
Yeah, who didn't die.
and it's just like, there's no, this character that I've known since I've played Halo all of a sudden has these substitute support characters that he has supposedly... It's because it was created after the fact, and I always thought it was really clumsy and unneeded, and I hated it so much.
Yeah. Well, that was...
But people read the books, and so they're excited because the characters that were in the books are in the video game. Mm-hmm. And I know Bungie, I think, has said something about this, but I think everyone understands that, I don't know, if a franchise has a main medium, I feel like that's the medium that should be first considered when creating new fiction. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, that does.
So,
absolutely.
Like, to watch any of the Star Wars movies, I shouldn't have to read a book to understand or know somebody or have important context, And, if Uncharted 5 comes out, I shouldn't have to read a comic book to understand, okay, where are we at in Uncharted 5? Like, because that's sort of the main medium. And part of its storytelling is the gameplay. So, like, in a book, the chief might talk more or something, I don't know. But the chief that I know is the chief that I have played. And part of that is gameplay. And you don't have gameplay in a book. So when you try and reconcile those things, it creates weird storytelling. Anyway, the story gameplay wise, I liked Halo 4. Art style is where it loses me, and some of the level design I think just kind of feels like a bunch of put together multiplayer maps, which it may actually be in some respects. I don't know. But anyway, okay, let's hit the ad break and talk news.
We want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this episode. They have been silently supporting us since the very beginning, and we felt it was time to give them some love. The like and share buttons have been at our side since episode 1 of the podcast. They can be found just beneath this episode. Please give them a click, it helps us greatly. If you're feeling lucky, click the bell icon to enter for a notification anytime we post new content. You may be surprised by what you get.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this Wall Street Journal story with Bobby Kotick and Activision Blizzard, and there is a bunch that we're not going to get to because there is a lot here, but I tried to condense it to some of the most important points and then some of the fallout as well, so stick with me because there's a lot to go through even though it's condensed. So the Wall Street Journal story written by Kirsten Grind, Ben Fritz, and Sarah E. Needleman summarized Kotick knew more than he originally led on regarding the culture at Activision Blizzard, both to the public as well as Activision Blizzard's board of directors. Kotick drafted Fran Townsend's original email. Now, a quick reminder, Fran Townsend, at the beginning of when the California Department of Fair and Equal Housing first sued Activision Blizzard for its alleged frat culture, Townsend sent out an email saying that the suit was factually incorrect, old, and included out-of-context stories. Well, apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, Kotick directed the email be sent by Townsend and drafted it himself. And then, of course, that's the email he later called tone deaf. A spokesperson for Activision Blizzard said Kotick takes responsibility for the incident and that Townsend should not be blamed. So that's kind of a huge reveal there. After Jen O'Neill was named co-head of Blizzard with... Oh, shoot, I forget who she was.
Mike Ybarra.
Is it Mike Ybarra? Mm-hmm. Okay. She emailed Activision's legal team saying she lacked faith in Activision's leadership to turn the culture around, and that, quote, it was clear that the company would never prioritize our people the right way, end quote. O'Neill also said in the email that she was sexually harassed earlier in her career at Activision and that she was paid less than her male counterpart at Blizzard. I wanted to make a note here. I was a little confused while reading the story because... We know a lot of the stuff has gone on at Blizzard, less so at Activision, but it seems like there was more going on at Activision than previously understood.
Yes.
So, and people use Activision sometimes synonymously with Activision Blizzard, and sometimes Blizzard synonymously, sometimes vice versa. But I think that one of the things I took away from the story was that more was going on at Activision than previously understood, right? And previously this is mostly Blizzard. and a little bit Activision, but it seems like a little more at Activision. There was lots of fallout from the Wall Street Journal story. A little more than 1,800 employers across Activision Blizzard have signed a petition to remove Kotick as CEO. Bloomberg reported that Xbox head Phil Spencer, in an email to staff, called the events at Activision Blizzard horrific, and that Xbox was evaluating all aspects of their relationship with Activision Blizzard. Bloomberg, these are both stories by Jason Schreier. Bloomberg also reported on an email PlayStation head Jim Ryan sent out saying they reached out to Activision Blizzard after the story, and that Activision Blizzard's statements of response don't properly address the situation. And then Fanbyte reported that Nintendo of America head Doug Bowser, in an email to all levels of Nintendo of America, called the accounts distressing and disturbing, and said Nintendo has been in contact with Activision Blizzard as well, and have taken actions and are assessing others. And then Nintendo actually confirmed that email was correct. And I don't know if the other emails have been confirmed or not, but considering the person that reported them, I think it's definitely
if Nintendo said something, the other two definitely said something.
That's probably true.
Nintendo
Yeah.
never says anything.
And in each instance, there are no specifics, like what kind of actions, what kind of assessments. So take that for what you will.
Kotick's gone.
It's hard to come back from a lot of this.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Wall Street Journal story reported some things we knew and reported some things we didn't know. One of the things that we didn't know that just popped into my head was the threat that he threatened to kill one of his assistants. And this was back in 2006.
Which was on voicemail, by the way.
Yeah, which is on voicemail, and man, I would love to hear that voicemail.
Yeah, and then there was also, I think there was another incident where he was a flight attendant.
Which an instance that was public that we had known about.
Right. So.
Yeah, but it goes from sort of one thing to a pattern of things now, and a guy at a company that has a pattern of things.
Right. So you have Bobby Kotick, who that incident with his assistant. You said it was 2006, right?
That's my guess. Yeah.
Around 2006-ish, and then he ended up taking over Activision around, I think, 2007, 2008. If I remember correctly, we'll say yes. And even then, I've never liked Kotick because I felt he was the one responsible for what happened with Vince Zampella and Infinity Ward after Modern Warfare 2.
2012.
Yes. So I've never liked him since then. And then even then, he was being made fun of in the gaming industry and community as someone who's money hungry or whatnot. It's very unfortunate that this is all about money because the board members are still sticking behind him even to today, which we talked about. They sent out another press release saying they're still standing behind him, which is understandable because he's the one who initially brought Activision more money. In my opinion, he's not the one making them money anymore. Call of Duty is the one making them money.
Sure.
And I think Call of Duty is a train that can,
survive without Kotick at the head.
Yes, it can, ride the rails by itself for a little bit, because it's a guaranteed breadwinner. I don't feel like Kotick needs to be there anymore. I'm sure more than enough people believe that as well. But until the board or shareholders say anything different, I don't know if we're going to be getting anything.
I wonder. I would love to know why. Because is it really that? Is it like was Call of Duty Warzone going free to play? Did Bobby Kotick walk into the office one day and go, "Hey guys, I know what can bring us a ton of more money," or was it a bunch of executives making an obvious business decision because of Fortnite? Like, how many of these decisions that have brought Activision Blizzard a ton of money because of Bobby Kotick's genius or because of his work as a CEO, Yeah. So I guess the point I'm trying to get to here is, like, at what point does it become more trouble than it's worth? And, trouble than it's worth relative to the board to keep Kotick around. Because obviously, to them, it's worth a lot of trouble. Now, if we were on the board, changes would have been made a long time ago, sure, whatever. Right. But because it's like, how difficult is he to replace? And again, Kotick's job and a lot of these CEOs' jobs are not to make good video games. They're to make a profitable business, and by any means necessary. So, next year, if every single game Blizzard and Activision Blizzard puts out, is Candy Crush. Only, in Call of Duty, it's Candy Crush, but with bullets or something. But they make the same amount of money. It doesn't matter, So how difficult is it? I make this joke sometimes, like, how difficult is it to do Bobby Kotick's job, to walk into Activision, to Sledgehammer and go, hey, are you guys making Call of Duty? Is there going to be microtransactions? Okay, are you guys still working on Warzone? Okay, great. And then leave.
I'd be willing to put money that there are at least 5 mid to upper tier executives that could fill his role over the week.
Maybe. And to refocus it here, the only reason I'm saying this is because they want him around for some reason. Mm-hmm. And is it because they're friends with him?
He's got dirt on them.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing people are assuming is that he has something on them.
Yeah. Because at this point, like, I don't see a major downside to getting rid of him. And people have been fired in positions of power for less than the stuff that's going on here, Mm-hmm. So, I think it's not a trailblazing take to say Bobby Kotick should resign.
No.
I think a lot of CEOs should resign, but if we're talking hard evidence, then I think this is a good place to start. And I would love to know the real rationalization behind why the board is keeping him around. I think the Jen O'Neill stepping down thing is really an indictment.
Yes,
because she wasn't being paid the same. Which how do you drop the ball so bad on that?
Well, it's infuriating because Kotick already came out, I think, a couple days ago, and apparently he didn't. Reports were that he said he would be willing to step down if he can't fix the situation here.
Sure.
Well, guess what? He's the one who brought the situation here.
He's holding a matchbox in his hand, saying, "If I can put out the fire I started, I'll stay in the house."
Right,
like, what are you talking about?
And even then, what you did to try to fix the situation was move Jen O'Neill up to co-head, and you still couldn't do that correctly.
Exactly.
So yeah, it is something that he should just be gotten rid of because, like I said, he's the one who brought this situation. This is not to say this stuff wasn't happening before he came along,
and not him
but
individually,
someone who has the audacity to threaten to kill his assistant, has the audacity to do all these other things or let them, fly, around the office. And so, it's all comes down to him. It starts at the top.
Sure. And, the other thing I didn't like in the Wall Street Journal story was that Activision sort of specified Mr. Kotick strongly regrets the words he used 16 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. What is that line 16 years ago supposed to insinuate? Mm-hmm. If Bobby Kotick were 30, okay, maybe a 14-year-old could act like that over a voicemail, and I can understand it. Bobby Kotick's like 59 years old or something, right? So 16 years ago, he's in his mid-30s, maybe? I don't know. The point is, he's
32. Or 42, sorry.
It's 16 years ago?
Yeah, 16 years old and 42.
So the point as a man, and so if you're trying to cover it by saying it happened a long time ago, the point I'm trying to make here is, if a long time ago the person was 42 years old,
still a grown ass man.
That you're still a grown ass man, and it makes it look even worse that you're trying to point out at the time disparity there between when something is reported, right? That just infuriated me. Because this idea that, here, we discovered all this stuff that's going on wrong now. Here's something that happened in the past. Here's a bunch of stuff that's happened since. And to try and cover up something that's happened in the past because it happened in the past when the guy was in his 40s, like, get the hell out of here. This has been this has been just an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
Activision Blizzard should be ashamed, like... It's so pathetic. And I still can't get over that he drafted the Fran Townsend email. In a case about how women are being treated at your company, and then you draft a letter, send it to a woman, and then throw that woman under the bus. And he didn't deny it, and he apologized for it.
The clock is on.
It's unbelievable. And then it's one of those things that I'm outraged over, and then as I continue to talk to myself about it, I become more outraged. And if I'm on the board, how do you look at that and go, Oh, so he threw her under the bus. How much money did Candy Crush make this month? Oh, okay. Like, that's got to be the only reason. Is I don't want to rock the boat because Candy Crush made a gajillion fulfillion dollars, so I have no integrity. And good discussion.
Tyler's that gif of Doc Rivers that. Just like watching this, like Activision.
I really wish I could do a Doc Rivers impression. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know. Got Chris Paul went down. Chris Paul didn't play for the Clippers anymore. And that was the best Doc Rivers I could do. Yeah.
I think the clock is on, like, getting close to being out for Kotick and the rest of the board. Well, not necessarily the rest of the board leaving, but them having to make the decision to get rid of him. Because you have the big three, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, pinning emails and taking a stance, and 1,800 employees taking a stance.
But they have to do something. Listen, I hate all companies. All companies suck. If your company has more than 3 people in it, it's one of the worst companies on the face of the planet, okay? But I have a soft spot for Phil Spencer for a few reasons. Mm-hmm. And it's because I think where Xbox was versus where they are now, it's all been positive. Does that mean Microsoft and Xbox are good companies? No, complete trash. But it would disappoint me if the one guy, Phil Spencer, who has seemed to do nothing but positive, good, and we'll talk about game preservation in a bit, which is just Phil Spencer. He's just preaching to the choir. It's ridiculous, right? It would be disappointing if the guy that's been so progressive when it comes to technology and all that other stuff with Xbox doesn't do something to change culture when he has talked about changing culture in the past. You know, PlayStation Jim Ryan, I think he's a corporate guy. He's a corporate man. Yeah. You know, protect the children, whatever. Doug Bowser, Nintendo is Nintendo. So, and Richard, you're right. It's like Nintendo said something. Yeah. So it's like when your mom uses your middle name kind of thing. It's like if Nintendo decides to speak out, it's like, whoa. So yeah, they need to do something, and I don't know what you do. I'm not going to say it's easy, but you know, and I don't know if these companies are comfortable pointing fingers at other companies and going, we're going to publicly say that your CEO should step down, because then, you know, the company could say, oh yeah, well, you know, look at these people you're you know, they could turn it into a corporate PR war or something. I don't know, but so I don't. It's worth admitting that I don't know what I would do as Phil Spencer or Jim Ryan, but that doesn't mean that they don't have the resources to figure it out.
A big thing would be pulling promotions.
Yeah.
That would be...
Pulling all promotions. Yeah.
That would be very big. And you know what? I don't even know if that is all that unprecedented. PlayStation took Cyberpunk off of the store.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there is precedent for them to just either stop selling
I'm not saying
or
it's a bad idea
to stop selling the game.
But I'm saying, like, would it be that big of a stretch to pull some of the Call of Duty Vanguard, you know, banners down?
Right. I think, excuse me, pulling down promotions would probably be the best thing, because pulling down a game, it's kind of like they get into the argument of like, okay, well, now you're not buying the game that these people toiled over to make. Sure. They don't get paid, et cetera. So, but that's a whole nother like thing.
And we could make it, and that
it just needs to be a joint maneuver between the 1,800 employees and the big three, and just
you hit their wallet.
Yeah, hit their wallet. 1,800 employees go on strike. That's they have 9,500 employees. That's, you know, a good chunk of their employee base. And that's, you know, probably mostly going to be on the development side. Those 1,800, we don't have specifics.
Yeah, I want to say they employ right around 10,000.
9,500.
Okay,
just looked it up.
That's a good amount.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not like the majority, but that's a good amount.
Mm-hmm. And then if you have Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft putting pressure on them and maybe, you know, feigning but still threatening, hey, we're gonna, you know, stop selling your games. They just need to put pressure on the board. They just need to start
just on anyone because how Bobby Kotick would go about being removed. I don't know the process off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I know he owns shares, so
there have to be buyouts and everything.
Yeah, and he'd probably make a ton of money if he were let go. As I'm sure somewhere in his contract it has it out there.
It's an unfortunate side effect of him getting removed, but it's a necessary side effect of him to get removed.
It's ripping off the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Yep. And
does he come out on top? Yeah, but he's no longer head of
Well, I mean,
Activision Blizzard, so everything could start moving forward and progressing towards a better state.
maybe, yeah, and I don't even know if he stays. I don't even know if he comes out on top, because if he stays, this is Bobby Kotick's legacy.
Yeah.
Is a complete trash fire in Activision
If he leaves,
Blizzard.
it's still his legacy.
And, you know, he'll be sitting in his mansion rolling around in the dough he made from Candy Crush, but nobody's going to give a shit about that when they read his Wikipedia page or when we're making books about the history of video games. It's going to be, this is the CEO that fucked up so horribly and wrote an email that was then sent under a different person's name that worked at the company, who was a woman. We're in the middle of a sexual harassment case about women and how
Is
they're
there
being treated.
legality on it? Is that impersonation?
No, because he drafted it.
No, he drafted it,
okay.
so it wasn't impersonation. Thank you for...
He gave her the
draft.
draft and said, make it like this.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so things may have been changed, but come on.
Oh, well.
Come on. Richard,
Hey.
let's talk about fun stuff.
Phil Spencer talked to okay. Phil Spencer from Xbox talked to shit. I should have been ready for that. Talked to Axios about game preservation. Yay! Yay. The VP of gaming at Microsoft specifically mentioned emulation as a way to preserve games for the future, saying, "quote My hope is, as an industry, we'd work on legal emulation that allowed modern hardware to run any, within reason, older executable, allowing someone to play any game." Any game. Oh, sorry. Wow, I said that sentence very weird. I think in the end, if we said, hey, anybody should be able to buy any game or own any game and continue to play, that seems like a great North Star for us as an industry. Emulation is when modern and new hardware simulates older hardware and allows it to play games or run executable files. Frank Cifaldi, president of the Video Game History Foundation, told Axios, quote, emulation is the path of least resistance for re-releasing games originally written for dead platforms. There just isn't a better way that is commercially viable. And that is very true.
I want to say this real quick. Okay. So it is the video game. I wrote that down without remembering if that was the correct name or not. It's Frank Cifaldi. Is he the president of the Video Game History Foundation?
He's the creator.
I don't know what his specific title is. I just put down president without. When you talk about corporations and stuff, it's just all these titles just become
it's the same meaning. Yeah, like the head,
co-creator, whatever. On the show next week, not really. Okay, I love everything about this.
We'll say it till it happens. Yeah,
we'll say it till it happens. I love everything about this, and this is what I'm talking about when I say I have a soft spot, right?
Yeah.
Because he comes out, he says stuff about NFTs.
In a sick blazer.
He wakes up on his couch, eats a piece of cold pizza, throws on some Converse,
grabs a Mountain Dew
from
his Xbox
What,
fridge.
Doc? I'm late for school. And then listens to Huey Lewis in the news. All these on the way to
80s jam bands all the way.
Exactly. And he throws
going
on this
fucking Bobby Kotick, piece of shit.
But I couldn't imagine Nintendo being this positive about emulation.
No, they aren't. They absolutely aren't.
And because, but they should
opposite.
be, because if we're concerned about games as an art, as a medium, this is the kind of stuff that you should say, and this is the kind of stuff that you're invested. And I think Microsoft has shown with backwards compatibility with xCloud, with Xbox Game Pass, that they are willing to do things that break the mold.
Yeah.
But it's not just to make a ton of money. It's for accessibility. It's to make the gaming as a medium a better medium, right?
And it's very true, even with the Xbox Series S and X, because I don't know. I guess I can say this on the podcast. Nobody's listening. I hope people are listening. But yeah, you pay $20 for the Xbox Series S and X to go into developer mode, and you can just put emulators on it. Like you could just put you can just access it and put RetroArch on it, and just put all these emulators and ROMs on it, and it just lets you do it. And
wow,
so
I never knew that.
Right? Yeah, and it's best kept secret. I guess not anymore. Secret's out.
For all 10,000 people that subscribe to us, go do it.
Right, yeah. But, it does seem like a very important thing, and it has been apparent through the struggles that they have tried in getting backwards compatibility for original Xbox games and Xbox 360 games. Not only that, but even paying more attention to them with the FPS boost and the positive frame rates and the resolution. Just creating an AI able to do that is incredible. And I think this is something that the other companies, Nintendo and Sony, can learn from Microsoft, and it's something that people want. The biggest downside for a company like Sony, like Nintendo, to look at is, of course, the money to be made in this industry.
That's the thing.
And it's very small. And I get this all the time, when people come into the store, it's like, they should just re-release it. You know how much the money they'll make? It's like, well, they won't make a lot. Like they'll make a chunk, but then it will stop.
Yeah.
Like it won't go anywhere. That's something that they're worried about. So for them, it's taking the time and the research and development to create something to play your old games. They don't want to spend that money to do that when the return on investment isn't matching.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
And that's exactly why Sony stopped with the PS3. They for a year and a half. It's like, hey, PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, you can play it on your PS3, and it's like, this is a little too much money. We're gonna take that out. So and just after a couple of years, people realize that it's like people play the old stuff. They don't play it as much as the new stuff, and that's why GameStop, every generation they kick the like last 2 generations out, because it's like, you're not making money anymore. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, there has to be a way for us to either continue playing these games or just plain and simply not forget about them.
Or just have them accessible somehow.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Have them accessible somehow. I think the money thing is where probably it lies. The biggest problem lies, because from a technological standpoint, I don't think it would be. I can't imagine it would be easy. Like, I don't think any of the work that Xbox has done with backwards compatibility has been a flip of the switch. I imagine it hasn't been. But like with money, the thing that came to my mind, and this, I think this is sort of similar, is I've seen a lot of people question why, for example, like Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek DS9 don't have Blu-ray releases, while like Next Generation does. And it comes down to, because if whoever owns the rights, CBS or whatever, put in the money to produce a Voyager release on Blu-ray, that takes time, that takes money to put into it, and then what kind of market are you going to find by selling Star Trek Voyager on Blu-ray, especially when you have streaming going on, as opposed to Next Generation, which is the much more popular show because it was on, it had a wider audience and stuff like that, so you can sell the Blu-rays of Next Generation and sort of get away with that. And also Next Generation Blu-rays were releasing before streaming became a big deal, I think. So that probably went into the equation too. But I think that's sort of the same thing, right? Is you have, this really high quality way to watch Deep Space Nine. It's not happening. And I think partially why, and it has to do somewhat with preservation. Yeah. And partially why is because the money isn't there to justify, at least in their minds, to justify spending on upscaling, footage.
It's also this weird hypocritical thing. I think I'm using the phrase correct, because it's like, you won't spend the money to make whatever new system you have backwards compatible, but yet you'll spend the money to remake one game from your history instead of just letting you play the plethora of it. And then we won't get that, but it comes to, I don't know if there's any like licensing issues or contracts that were made. That also becomes a damn thing. So
yeah, and if you want to talk about, if royalties ever get introduced to the games industry, you can kiss games that were released last week goodbye. Because some game companies are just not going to want to deal with that. Now that's nowhere close to being ever a reality. But that, I think that's an interesting question too. Lots of things to ask Frank Cifaldi when he's on the show next week. Not really.
If you keep saying it, it'll happen.
Connor, what's up, man? How you doing? You okay?
Yeah.
You want to tell us about our next story?
So, Star Citizen has raised more than $400 million. Last year, or less than a year ago, it eclipsed $300 million, and as of today, it is at $405 million, which crowdfunding began back in 2012.
So,
I remember when I started at my store in 2014, my manager at the time was all like, "Oh, Star Citizen, can't wait. The thing is rad." And he put money into it. He was playing the alpha or beta or whatever it was at.
Sure. It's still an alpha.
Yeah, still an alpha. Yeah, and I wonder what he's doing now. Because it's like, damn, man, this game just can't get off the ground. Like, to me, this is...
It is a $400 million tech demo.
Yeah.
So, so it's free, and I do plan on playing it. Maybe tomorrow.
You fool. I'm kidding.
I think Star Citizen is fascinating because it's completely bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
And it brings to question almost everything we talk about when we talk about the economy of the video game industry, right? And how complicated it is. And just how ridiculous money gets shifted in this thing. Because it's raised $400 million. And, you think about like the most expensive budgets of all time. I still think it's Destiny at $500 million was the most expensive game ever made. And maybe behind GTA 5.
Well, with the continuing marketing budget for Red Dead 2, it's approaching $500 million.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Red Dead 2? Oh, okay. But in any case, you see how much money gets put into something like Destiny or Red Dead 2, and you can see the results. And you see how much money get put into Star Citizen. And I haven't played Star Citizen in a while, but every time I go back to it, I am constantly underwhelmed. so there is that. And I haven't played it in a while, so of course. But I think even if Star Citizen does release and it's amazing, the question becomes, does it justify how this has gone on?
9 years of development.
9 years of development and a really long... But does it justify getting a huge swath of funding from a user base that doesn't see the fruits of that for a super long time? Is that something we want to normalize and see a lot? Those are the questions that pop into my mind. And I think I also think there's a lot of spite. I think a lot of people, because that scenario makes them uncomfortable, don't want Star Citizen to succeed. And then I think there are people that have spent $2,000 on Star Citizen and don't want those $2,000 to go
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, don't want them to go to just a poorly mismanaged game, So I find it fascinating and disheartening at the same time, because we can't, one of the things we talk about a lot is managing expectations, is managing scope, is managing budgets, is saying, hey, executives keep saying that games are getting more and more expensive, but like, why? Why is that? Is that sustainable? Can it be curtailed at all? Are you just fine with that happening and you're not going to try and curtail it at all? And yet Star Citizen is out here and it just keeps making money. This story was reported over 400 million and it became 405 million. So it's made a couple $1 million since since it first eclipsed 400 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, it brings a lot of things to my mind. And I'm uncomfortable with the prospect that this becomes something that is somehow normalized or something like that. And it may not be all that different from people spending a ton of money on a free-to-play game or on WoW or something. But at least then there are levels of polish and expectations of things you get in...
I think there is a totally different understanding of spending money on... Yeah, because you spend money on WoW and you get to play the entirety of WoW.
Oh, yeah.
That game is out. It's been out for 20 years. You have 20 years of content to play with, and you can go back and do the World of Warcraft Classic now. There is nothing like, yes, there's the free plays that they put out, but those are tech demos. Those are tech demos disguised as fun little video game parts that you get to go play. And one of the things that is really damning about RSI, Robert Space Industries, if you go to their development page, it shows how much money they're making from the crowdfunding per day. On there's a graph that updates daily with how much money they're making. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the development page, they stopped updating the development page back in 2014.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Their last stretch goal that they put on their development page was for $65 million.
Yeah.
And they didn't even put a date on it. There's just $65 million.
Mhm.
This it's going to go nowhere. There's no reason for them to put out because they've got $400 million already.
I think that's a good place to, I don't know, to end it.
Oh,
Fuck
okay.
Star Citizen.
I think I just want to play it some more.
Real quick, because I haven't said anything on this.
Sorry, go ahead.
when we first started the story, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, wow, that's $400 million on Star Citizen. Who is paying this money to play Star Citizen, a game that I have seen less than 5 clips of? Like, I have no idea what it looks. I mean, I know what it looks like,
Yeah.
and supposedly has Mark Hamill in it, Gary Oldman, all these people, and
Yeah,
like
the
I've
Squadron
only
42
seen
single player.
screenshots of them and whatnot. And so I started thinking, I was like, that's a lot of money. What other games make a lot of money? EVE Online makes a lot of money, but that is that game is an economy now. And then my mind went to, well, what else makes money? And I was like, Second Life. It's like, is Star Citizen a space Second Life? And I don't know. I just wanted to make that like joke. Are people living in Star Citizen because they think they can like just live their space life? Just go play Elite Dangerous
Or Eve.
or Eve. Yeah, even better.
Hey! Yeah, there's a lot. I'm gonna play Star Citizen. I'll talk about it on next week's
And I
podcast.
will disown you as my brother.
I'll talk about it. I'm not dropping $2,000 so I can have a spaceship that has another spaceship inside of it or something.
Sick.
Space babies.
We'll talk tidbits. Play the goddamn tidbits. A man discusses the news, but not like the big news, the little news. Little bit. This is the tidbits.
I realize I haven't heard that in like a month.
Yeah, it's been
That's
a while.
great.
It's been a while.
An unfinished VR mode was found in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Definitive Edition.
Speaking of train wrecks.
Yeah, speaking of train wrecks. Using a debug command for the Unreal Engine, users have found an unfinished VR mode, which is not terribly surprising considering the confirmation of GTA VR. San Andreas already in development from Oculus. I hope the same studio isn't making it. That's all I'll say.
Armature Studios making it.
Yeah, well, yeah, no,
They
please,
did a hell of a
thank
job of
goodness,
everything
thank
before.
goodness.
Yeah.
However, I do think that Facebook probably will put the studio under more scrutiny due to all the, if it is the same studio, like,
Sure,
due to all the
yeah.
backlash from this. So we'll see what happens with that. Mercenaries mode is coming to Resident Evil 4 VR in
Yay.
2022. The missing bonus mode was omitted from the VR version of the game being developed, and it is being developed for release in 2022. It will be included as a free update. Oculus posted this promo video for it a couple days ago with the confirmation as an ending stinger. However, the video was promptly taken down. I believe earlier today they did actually confirm it. So yay for that. More Resident Evil VR. I can't wait. Oh boy, excuse me. Battlefield 2042 is one of the worst reviewed games on Steam.
It's a meme at this point.
Yeah, with over 10,000 reviews, Battlefield 2042 has procured a mostly negative tag on Steam. Lag issues, subpar optimization, and numerous glitches and changes to the series formula are among reasons attributing to these reviews.
Can I pause you just for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I am someone that believes that there systemic problems. When people complain about people pre-ordering games, it's like, listen, there are 1 million people in this world, and there are 1 million reasons to pre-own a game. So don't try and proselytize or whatever and explain to each of these people why they shouldn't pre-order a game, right?
Yeah, of course.
But all that breaks down when it comes to Battlefield. God damn it, the same exact pattern has happened since Battlefield 3. And I'm tired. I'm tired of it. Or maybe not even 3, maybe 4. I don't know. But it's just like
4.
Before Battlefield 2042 came out, or 2043, or whatever the hell it's called, you could have guessed exactly what was going to happen. It was going to release. It wasn't going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people that bought the game for some reason and couldn't wait a week or two before seeing what reviews were going to get mad.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's going to be this gigantic cluster fuck on the Steam page where it's downvoted and stuff. And what's going to happen? 90% of those players are going to go play something else. 10% are going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And then in a year or a year and a half, it's, oh man, it's
happen again.
It's better
It's a
now.
great game.
It's
Yeah,
way better. And there's going to be, and just like every other game. And then the next Battlefield is going to come out, and it's going to be Battlefield, the cowboy version, and it's going to be set in the West. And I don't know. and it's going to release, and it's not going to be done, and it's going to get horrible reviews, and it's going to lose 90%. And okay, I just wanted to vent a bit, because this everybody, you go on r/gaming, and Voss is everywhere, doing the same thing over again, thinking you're going to get a different result. Definition of insanity. He's the greatest villain of all time, right, guys? Not really, but whatever. Anyway, but here we are, buying Battlefield, when we know what's going to happen. And I'm holding this Giants coaster, and the Giants are a shitty team.
At least the next one tonight.
Go ahead, Richard.
There you go. What was I going to say about... shit, I was going to add on to you. Forget it. Anyways.
If you ever remember it, just bring it up.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's probably not. Desert Bus for Hope stream has ended, raising $1,188.
Hey, that's good.
Or wait, $1,188,181.
A lot of ones and eights.
The stream lasted for 165 hours. All the proceeds will go to Child's Play charity, which is a charity I donate to frequently on Humble Bundle. But have you guys heard of the Desert Bus for?
I know the game. I know that people play it for charity. But I couldn't tell you
Desert Bus is a side mini game on Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors for the Sega CD. But it is a you play as a bus driver. Who drives a bus from Tucson to Las Vegas in real time. And when you get to Las Vegas, you get 1 point. And then the game's like, hey, do you want to do overtime? And if you say yes, you have to drive from Las Vegas to Tucson, and then you get another point. So
what's the high score in the game?
I don't know, actually. But I do know that you actually have to pay attention to the road, otherwise you will swerve off, or things will happen every now and again. But anyways, they've made it's of course started as a joke, but they ended up making it into a very large stream that's fun for everybody. So congratulations to them.
Cool.
That is it for the tidbits. We got MPDs, baby.
Hey.
Bang, 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 bang.
Play a sound. Just give us a sounder for the MPDs. I don't care which one.
Xbox.
Okay, different one. We already heard that one. Give me a different.
Infinite ammo.
There we go. Give us an MPD.
Infinite number ammo.
Hey.
October 2021 consumer spending across video game hardware, content, and accessories grew 16% versus the yearly average, reaching an October record of $4.4 billion. Year-to-date consumer spending reached $46.7 billion, gaining 12% when compared to the same period in 2020. Hardware dollar sales gained 82% compared to a year ago, helping lead the market to 16% total year-over-year growth. Content was also strong. Double-digit percentage gains were achieved across all content segments in October versus, it says YA, yearly average, I think? Anyways. Sorry, real quick, all the information is taken from Matt Piscatella over on Twitter verbatim. He is the head of the MPD group and gives us these numbers every month. October video game hardware dollar sales increased 82% when compared to October 2020 to $472 million. Year-to-date hardware spending has increased 53% when compared to the same period a year ago, reaching $3.9 billion. I'm still amazed that we're just
the train ain't stopping.
Where's the money coming from? Anyways. Switch was the best-selling hardware platform in October in both units and dollars, aided by the launch of the Nintendo Switch OLED model. PlayStation 5 remains the best-selling hardware platform of 2021 year-to-date in dollars, while Nintendo Switch leads in units. Far Cry 6 debuted as October's best-selling game, instantly becoming the 8th best-selling game of 2021 to date. Far Cry 6 ranked first on both PlayStation and Xbox platforms in October.
I wonder how big of... Sorry.
No, I thought you were going to say, I wonder who's buying these games.
Well, I wonder how big of a gap there is between the Xboxes and the PlayStations right now.
I do too. That might be because people usually ask him questions when he's posting these, and he'll answer them. So there's not a lot of people following the head of the MPD group. He has a check mark, but
Mac Piscatella.
He's a huge baseball fan, though.
Huge baseball fan?
Yeah,
Is he a Red Sox fan?
No, I don't know. He's a Giant. He's a San Diego Giants fan. I think.
Padres?
San Francisco Giants.
San Francisco Giants.
Sorry,
okay, that's fine. That's acceptable.
Okay.
If you were a Red Sox fan,
well, of course, yeah. No, I understand.
But no, you don't.
He's a White Sox fan.
No, that's fine.
That's
too.
fine.
That's fine.
Yes, his Twitter says go Padres.
Go
so.
Padres.
Oh, Padres,
Padres even better. I respect the Padre fan because Life sucks. You really gotta love the Padres to go Padres there.
All right, well, Back for Blood was October's second best-selling game, also ranking second on both PlayStation and Xbox platforms. Metroid Dread debuted as October's number 3 best-selling game, while also ranking first on Switch. Metroid Dread achieved the highest launch month sales of any Metroid franchise release in tracked history. Launch month physical dollar sales of Metroid Dread nearly doubled those of previous franchise best, Metroid Prime. That's back in 2001, 2002. October 2021 spending on video game accessories increased 5% when compared to a year ago to $158 million. Year-to-date accessory sales reached $1.9 billion, increasing 9% when compared to a year ago. And the Xbox Elite Series 2 wireless controller was the best-selling accessory of October, while the DualSense wireless controller remains the best-selling accessory of the year. Now, that's it for the NPDs, but 2 weeks ago I was going to give Xbox 20th anniversary info because it was the anniversary, but, we decided to not do a podcast or I think, push back the NPDs. Anyways, happy 20th anniversary to the original Xbox.
Hey.
Launched November 15, 2001.
Xbox.
There we go.
To date, the Xbox console has sold around 24 million units. And just as a little kicker, here are the top 10 best-selling Xbox games. Halo 2 at 8.46 million. Original Halo at 5 million. Fable at 3 million. GTA Double Pack 2.49 million. Tied, well, no, actually not tied, just ahead of Splinter Cell at 2.4 million. KOTOR 1.58 million. Counter-Strike tied with Ninja Gaiden at 1.5 million. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas alone at 1.46 million. And Need for Speed Underground 2 at 1.44 million.
So the highest was Halo 2?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Best-selling game, yeah. That was in order, so 1 to 10.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I forgot Counter-Strike was on the
Yeah.
Xbox.
So was Battlefield 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did you not say Orange Box on there?
Who's Orange Box?
Who is Orange Box?
Orange Box was on 360, man.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Half-Life 2 is on Xbox.
I'm stupid. Okay. The Orange Box is cheating, though, whenever it's on a list of something.
I mean, that's such a great package.
I know it is, but it's cheating. It's like, yeah, okay, here, I'm going to make the greatest game of all time. It's, Metal Gear Solid 3, fucking Skyrim, and Halo 3, and I'm going to put it in the same box. There. Greatest game of all time.
Pretty good box.
It's like, it's cheating, Anyway, sorry.
Of course they'd put Skyrim in there and release it on another console.
I'm still angry about the whole thing I was mad about, but I don't know what that was.
Yeah, no, I was talking about numbers, man, but...
Are we done with NPDs?
We're done with NPDs, done with info this week.
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Gaming Discourse. Go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Gaming Discourse, where we post videos. Check out the Midnight Protocol video. And we will see you next week with Matt Piscatella and
Nice.
Xbox.
and whoever the other guy was, Frank Cifaldi.
Thanks, Faldy. Wow.
And Phil Spencer.
And Phil Spencer on the show at the same time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.